before that, he literally was like, why do you want small businesses to fall apart by raising minimum wage to $30 an hour when everybody knows that that is going to kill small businesses? Why do you want to take a out and every laundromat owner in the city? Why do you want to kill them, Zoran? That's crazy.
People have compared him to a left-wing version of you, charismatic, breaking the old rules. What do you think about
This was funny. Oh, is this Morning Joe? Did the Zomentum reach the Morning Joe line? Wow, what a time to be alive, dude. Oh my God. Zohran Mamdani on Morning Joe. This was Joe Biden's favorite televised broadcast. Wow, I didn't even see this. Incredible. Incredible. Remember, these are the guys. This was like the Japanese Imperial Forces commander still holding on to his forward operating base 29 years after Japan lost the war in the Philippines. Like that's what Morning Joe represented for Joe Biden, right? Like Joe Biden's brain was leaking out of his ear and Morning Joe was like, we're staying the course. It's probably one of the more calcified instruments of establishment Democrats that is just horrible at making any sort of decisions that could potentially save or offer a lifeline to the party. Dude, he literally went on David Pakman and BTC. Good. He should win those over.
Well, I think I'm a much better looking person than him, right?
But what if Mamdani becomes mayor?
It's going to be hard for me as the president to give a lot of money to New York because if you have a communist running New York, all you're doing is wasting the money you're sending there. So I don't know that he's won, and I'm not a fan of Cuomo one way or the other, but if it's going to be between a bad Democrat and a communist, I'm going to pick the bad Democrat all the time, to be honest with you.
All right.
Hey, Willie, is Stalin a write-in candidate? You said we got a communist?
Yeah.
Yeah, check the paperwork.
We need to
President
check the
Trump
paperwork.
on 60 Minutes this past Sunday threatening to withhold federal funding from New York City in a last-ditch effort to prevent Democratic candidate Zoran Mamdani from winning today's New York City mayoral election. Trump also threw his backing behind independent candidate Andrew Cuomo. And Zoran Mamdani joins us now.
And the communist joins us now. How do you respond to that when somebody comes up to you and says, I can't vote for you because you're a communist?
I say there are reasons you might not want to vote for me, but let's be honest about my politics. I'm a democratic socialist no matter how many times President Trump calls me otherwise.
Yeah, explain the difference. What is the difference between a Democrat, a democratic socialist, and a communist?
Well, I'm a democratic socialist who's also a Democrat.
Right.
And when I say I'm a democratic socialist, I explain it in the words of Dr. King from decades ago, who said that call it democracy or call it democratic socialism, there must be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children in this country.
Right.
And what I actually find is that when you're speaking to New Yorkers, they ask you less how you describe your politics and more whether there's room for them in that politics.
Right.
And New Yorkers are asking me, does your politics have room for my struggle to afford my rent, my childcare, my groceries? And frankly, President Trump ran an entire campaign focusing on the cost of living, focusing on the promise of cheaper groceries. And his inability to do so is now making him increasingly desperate to try and stop the campaign that will actually deliver on the same diagnosis that he shared.
Yeah, what are you looking for tonight as the election results first come in? What's going to be the key for you to...
I need you guys to understand something very important here. What Zoran Mamdani's doing here is not just like win favors, but like the potential, okay? That party is long gone, okay? He already captured the attention of those guys from the start. What he's doing here is basically building a messaging platform to attack Donald Trump successfully for the rest of the Democrats that are paying attention to this shit, okay? Because now that he is already an established Democrat as the Democrat primary winner in the mayoral race in New York, he can literally just turn around and be like, well, guess what? The reason why they voted for me is because you failed to deliver on this key campaign promise. You lied about it. Now, it's important for the Democrats to recognize that and then also push that message over and over again, because that will be the message. That will be the resilient message that actually starts unwinding and slowly but surely picking away at the base of support that the Republicans have. In the absence of a unified message of this sort from the counter messaging party, from the left flank party, whatever you want to call it, the Democrats are going to continue being unpopular, and maybe they're going to see some modest victories in the midterms, if we even have midterms at all, and they're going to get nothing. They are going to have nothing, and Trump is going to continue solidifying his power because they are deeply unpopular at this moment. If they were to present a message similar to what Zoran is presenting at this moment, they would be able to actually win favor with the population. I also got Vietnamese coffee, for those of you who are wondering what I'm drinking, what I'm seeing, what I'm doing. Okay? So it's actually a very good message overall. I mean, it's a very good message to win elections in general. It's one that I obviously believe. It's one that I obviously support. And it's one that I think has been resilient and successful. But it's also important for the rest of the Democrats to recognize this. Right? It's important for the rest of the Democratic Party to recognize this. Not bad. Too much milk, not enough condensed milk? Yeah, you nailed it from the color. That is crazy. Yes, this does not have nearly enough condensed milk. It actually is not as good as I thought it would be. Is their coffee still $50 a cup? No, this is not. This is a relatively inexpensive place. Your thesis being reflected in polling data as well. This is very mediocre for the Dems. CNN's tracking poll just found that Trump underwater by minus 27 nationally, but their exit polling is only showing his approval at minus 15 in the VA electorate today. VA should be bluer. If Spanberger can't pull in the three-letter agency-ass VA, the center of the party is well and truly dead. I hope they can eke out a win because I want Republicans to be crushed, but goddamn if the results match this, ouch. Yeah, VA, Virginia is supposed to be, especially with this like moderate, centrist, former CIA candidate, this is supposed to be gangbusters, right? Like, it doesn't make sense. If the method is there, if the method is clear, then they should be cooking. If centrism is the way to go in the future, she should absolutely be cooking right now. Yeah, but as I've already maintained this position, no matter what happens when Spanberger and Sherrill win, Democrats are going to immediately point to how their campaign should be the blueprint and not Zoran. They're going to say, Zoran only works in New York City. New York City is woke and gay. Okay, New York City is blue. It's deep blue. What works in New York City won't work in Virginia. What works in New York City won't work elsewhere. Just remember that. The reason why they're saying that is not because they truly believe it. The reason why they're saying that is because they would rather lose over and over again. They would rather lose 1,000,000 times than to win with left populist messaging. That's it. And they did this already. We ran this route already. We ran this route before. Kamala Harris was exactly that. We will not just win, but we will win with our own design. If we lose, even if we are committed to third way neoliberalism, then we lose honorably. That is what the Kamala Harris campaign looked like. That is what the Hillary Clinton campaign in 2016 looked like. They did this. And it's gotten actually even worse over time because from what Hillary Clinton was presenting in 2016 as like the more moderate position to Bernie Sanders, I would say Kamala Harris's position in 2024 was far, far more conservative, especially when it comes to like social issues, especially when it comes to the incremental change that we're talking about. I asked Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro what it tells us about the future of the Democratic Party if Zohran Mamdani wins in the New York City mayoral race tonight. And Josh Shapiro, of course, came in hot, okay? I think it's important to look at the entire makeup of what happens tonight. I'd be happy to talk to you about it tomorrow and do an assessment of what voters choose, what they didn't choose, he said. There's obviously races here for our Supreme Court, really important governors races where I've personally campaigned in Virginia and New Jersey, an important ballot initiative in California. So let's look at all that. And then I'll be happy to go over what I think that means with you tomorrow. They're already gearing up. Mate Feed Art, thank you for the 100 donuts. What's up? Why? What are you doing? Oh, you're just bored? You're just showing up, dude? What the hell? What's good?
Well, I mean, how much longer? I feel like it's gonna be.
What do you mean, bro? It's 6. Results come at 9. Oh my God, are you wearing? Yes. Are you wearing Erica Kirk pants right now? Chat. Marchie Poo is in the building wearing the me leather pants that resemble the leather couch. These are literally the Erica Kirk sevens. That's crazy. I don't think JD's gonna be at the event tonight, man. Yeah, is that a bummer for you? I know you wanted to have JD blow your back out. It seems you dripped out the wazoo. I have purposefully shied away from inviting guests today because I wanted to do actual commentary and coverage. Because like when I have guests, it's hard for me to do so because there's like a lot of chatter. There's a lot about no, you can stay here. It doesn't matter. You're not gonna do commentary anyway. But they're gonna eat your ass up because of that. Wait, who? I think you're just talking about Adam Law. No, it's not, bro. You got normies watching today. Don't talk about March's back getting blown out. I think the normies are way more aggro. Have you seen Kyle Kalinski's dark woke pivot, dude? Are you kidding me? The entirety of the liberal base is liberal wine moms are literally talking about the blood of tyrants will water our trees, the trees. And you're over here talking about like, oh, normies. No, man, normies are dark woke, dude. Normies are unimaginably dark woke. Yeah, every Republican alive is an affront to God. This is the Democrat Party's base now, and the sooner they embrace it, the sooner they start winning. Especially because when you look at the Attorney General race with Jay Jones and Kalshi, but like the actual polls reflect the result here. Like Jay Jones is actually cooking. Why is Jay Jones cooking? What did I tell you? What did I tell you? When I saw those Jay Jones text messages and Jay Jones was like, yeah, I'm really sorry that I said this Republican who was in favor of who was standing in opposition to gun control after like another school shooting will only learn his lesson if they like literally experience one in their own immediate family. And I'm not going to say that he's going to win, okay? I'm not jinxing it. But I'm saying that like liberals, I do not think liberals by and large, like these kinds of giga normie wine moms by and large. Oh, do you want banh mi? I have hella banh mi. Oh, you did? Nice. I think liberals by and large, my giga normie friend who hates you is dark woke now and asked me why there aren't more leftist influencers. Oh, that's awesome. You should bring him back into the fold. You can slowly but surely and subtly, or maybe not so subtly, start hospilling him again. There is a reason why a lot of people find their way here. There's a reason why a lot of people have basically found themselves in this community because, like, I hate Republicans, okay? And I hate Democrats who don't hate Republicans. That's what I've always stressed. I've always talked about this. And some people get it, and some people don't. This was my main rant. If you remember, my main rant in the aftermath of Kamala Harris's disastrous DNC speech was that I hate Republicans and Democrats don't. And I hate Democrats who don't hate Republicans. Okay, can you clarify on hate? Yes, I can tell you exactly what I mean. I don't mean I hate Republican voters. I mean, I hate Republican politicians who traffic in hate, who traffic in bigotry, who spread divisive rhetoric with the express purpose of dividing the working class and constantly stand as a hurdle towards any sort of modest progressive change in the direction of alleviating some of the stresses that the American working class experiences. I hate them for that reason, because they are servants of capital, okay? And not only are they servants of capital, but they're fascist servants of capital, as a matter of fact. They send your children to go to die in wars overseas. They are constantly sheltered from the impact of their policies because they're ultra wealthy in general, or they become ultra wealthy as a consequence of being politicians. And the Democrats that also play a formative role in a conciliatory role to this kind of dangerous rhetoric, to the trafficking of dangerous rhetoric and bigotry and harmful narratives, dehumanizing our neighbors, are playing a formative role in allowing exactly what's going on today. Okay, that's it. I hate those. There is nothing different than you and your Mexican neighbor, your Guatemalan neighbor. You, as a matter of fact, have a lot more in common with those people than you do with the people sitting on the board of Goldman Sachs, okay? And all of this enmity towards like other ethnicities, other nationalities, people who speak a different language than you, all of that is designed to stop you from recognizing that reality that you and your Mexican or Guatemalan or your black or your brown or your Asian neighbors actually have the exact same class interests, okay? That's it. And anyone who spreads that narrative, anyone who actually undermines this reality is my enemy, okay? I do not fault those who have been duped. I do not fault those who have been propagandized. I try to change their minds. But the reality of the matter is, if you are trafficking in these conspiracies, if you're trafficking in these kinds of dangerous narratives, then you are an enemy of the working class, and you are my enemy as well. I hate those people for this reason. I hope you guys understand that. Okay? Beast mode, I'm afraid. My Mitt Romney loving former Republican aunt and great uncle, or aunt and uncle, voted early for Jay Jones, ignoring the weeks of my gentle and not so gentle persuasion. Too bad you have to sit this one out tomorrow. I voted early. Tee-hee. How'd it feel to vote for someone who wants your grandchildren and grandniece and nephew dead? Would you invite him to piss on their graves? Walter and I both did. Newsflash. None of my 5 grandchildren have been threatened, but thanks. He said he wants to kill and piss on their graves because that is the only way to enact policy change. And you were like, ooh, that sounds great. Sign me up for that. Oh no, I had no idea. Oh well. That is crazy, okay? That is crazy. And this is what I mean. Like, Kyle Kalinski's going beast mode on this shit. Like, the ultimate tell here is Erica Kirk dressing up like a leather couch. Like, they don't give a fuck. They've run out of fucks to give. And it makes sense. It makes sense. Like, we play this fucking song and dance about civility politics over and over again, and it's nothing but L's for the Democrats. Because the only side that seemingly fucking cares about civility politics is the Democrats. Republicans don't give a shit. They go crazy. They say some of the most insane shit you've ever fucking heard about entire swaths of the population. Not even just directed at like a singular individual, which they do all the time. Look at the George Floyd memes and shit like that, right? But even outside of that, they literally will design messaging around entire swaths of the population. Every trans person and every gay person is a groomer pedophile. Like, what are we doing here? That's a fucking insane thing to say. Every black person is aggressive and violent. That's a fucking insanely violent and dehumanizing thing to say. And then we have to sit around and be like, oh, how dare you? We have to sit through the fucking how dare yous of the people who we have heard for years talk the most amount of fucking shit. I mean, look no further than all of the Republican influencers who think the death of woke is here so they can just do blackface. What the fuck have black people done to you? That you just, in this moment, in this very moment, you still turn around and you go, I'm going to do blackface. I'm going to remind people of some of the darkest chapters of American history. I'm going to restore the racial pecking order or remind people of the white supremacist racial pecking order. Why the fuck are you doing that? Other than cruelty for the fucking sake of cruelty, vice signaling. And then we have to sit around. We have to fucking sit around and act like these are sincere people that are genuinely offended. Yeah, okay, boo fucking who? Suck my dick. That's why I don't have an issue with the dark woke liberalism that we are seeing, as long as it's paired up with actual economic populism from the left, okay? Real policies. Dark woke doesn't mean that, you know, Republicans don't get to have health care. Okay, it means that they do get to have health care, right? They do. Everybody should have health care. That's how it works. But as far as like how we arrive at that position, or as far as the back and forth and the civility politics around this thing, it's just so frustrating to see Republicans who I have seen over and over again say the most insane stuff about like Michelle Obama being a man, only to turn around and be like, who has been more graceful? What first family has received more grace than the Obamas? Like, are you fucking joking, dude? We were there when you kept saying Michelle Obama's a man. What are you talking about? That Barack Obama is a Kenyan Muslim. Yeah, this was my favorite Kyle Kalinske dark woke tweet. Secular Talk says fake grieving widow grifter costume. How would the media respond to this post had Charlie Kirk been a Democrat? To which he responded with, shut your snowflake bitch ass up. Edgy jokes are fine for you, but not for leftists. Based Mike Lee, in air quotes, votes for endless war and stealing healthcare from 17 million people. But I'm the problem. Fuck you. Retire, you cunt. And then he slapped on the Nightmare on Wall Street tweet that Mike Lee posted. This shit sucks so much ass. And it's only weaponized against liberals and leftists. Like, you're too quick. You tweak too fast on anyone that tries to develop like fake empathy. Like, they demand empathy from you, and you go, "Oh my God, you're right. Actually, we mustn't be mean. We mustn't be mean to the Republicans." I'm not saying you should be mean to like your regular ass Republican voter friends and family members, but as far as the politicians goes, I mean, come on, you know, or even like the political commentary people. Like the people that are actually actively propagandizing, you know? It's bullshit. Kyle's been on an unreal streak. No pun intended, since he posted about Nancy Mace eating a shit ton of beans all by herself. Yeah, he said, that's a lot of beans, you nasty ass bitch. Emma called it out too.
I wanted to get your thoughts on the Democratic Party here and whether or not what this upcoming Tuesday means for them. Ezra Klein recently wrote for the New York Times that over the past 15 years, the Democratic Party has made room on its left and closed down on its right. For all
hard disagree, definitely go after the Republican voters. No, there's a better method out there, okay? You can always convince regular people, okay? You should always try to convince regular people. Like, remember that. No matter how fucking stupid or silly, and it's a case-by-case thing, right? Obviously, there are some who are immovable objects, right? I'm not saying spend every waking moment trying to convince people who are just like so stupid that it's impossible to convince. But there are plenty of people who are just in the margins, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to alienate people all the fucking time and be like unapproachable and annoying and run around with your moral superiority. I don't do that either, right? But when it comes to smoke for the politicians, I got all that smoke, including politicians that are ostensibly on my side, right? Like the Democrats.
The talk of what the Democratic Party should learn from Bernie Sanders and Zohran Mamdani, there should be at least as much talk of what they should learn from Manchin or Golden or Marie Perez or Sarah McBride. The party should be seeking more, not less, internal disagreement. Do you agree with that stance?
No. I mean, I don't know what reality Ezra Klein is living in. That the fact that the Democratic Party has tacked to its left in what universe? Yeah. The coalescing around Joe Biden in the 2020 primary, the besmirching of Bernie Sanders supporters, the eschewing of that movement in 2016, and even in this current moment with Zoran Mamdani, who has been a shot in the arm for the Democratic Party, you still have Chuck Schumer refusing to endorse him, and Hakeem Jeffries' endorsement is lukewarm at best. There is a fight right now within the Democratic Party, and Ezra Klein is representing a floundering corporatist centrist flank that is increasingly irrelevant in the party, and he's trying to carry water for them in the Times. I mean, I think it's a lucrative thing to do, but it's not necessarily matching the reality.
I love it. I'm so excited to disagree with you. I do, because I could not disagree more. The point Ezra's trying to make is that it takes two wings to fly. That he's trying to say Democrats need to build a Big Ten. And he's not saying you got to choose between Zoran Mamdani and Bernie Sanders in the centrist wing. He's saying Democrats need to compete in more places. You raised a stat earlier that I think is the key one. Why, when Donald Trump's numbers are plummeting among independent voters, he's got 48% strong disapproval. How come the Democratic Party's approval rating is lower as a brand
because
than
the
the
message that I was just trying to elucidate.
So you believe it's because they're not far left enough?
No, I believe that there needs to be a different approach to politics here. Not building a tent and saying we don't necessarily stand for anything, including Ezra advocating for saying that we should run anti-abortion Democrats in red states. So let's throw trans people under the bus. Let's throw women under the bus. Let's just do anything except
reorienting territory, though.
No,
I think he's talking about being practical.
And trying to expand the map. That's what needs to happen here. Is if Democrats are how do you expand the map? Is you win in Ohio and you win in Pennsylvania and you win in West Virginia. As much as Democrats hate Joe Manchin, he was the only Democrat who could win statewide.
People always forget that like West Virginia had a fucking solid left base like throughout its history when there was some semblance of fucking labor unions. Okay, this shit makes me so mad. Like everybody always talks about Joe Manchin, but like Joe Manchin literally only was a relevant entity within the Democratic Party infrastructure because he was a Democrat and because he was a spoiler. Okay? That's it. Joe Manchin would be worthless as a Republican. He would never have his committees. He would never have his position. He would never get that unlimited fucking, he would not get the corporate donors if he wasn't a spoiler within the Democratic Party. It's bullshit.
I'm sorry, but Joe Manchin helped kill the child tax credit, which is the reason the Democrats are lagging behind in affordability right now.
But would it have been better if there were a Republican in that seat?
If the Democrats want to orient themselves behind a working class coalition and use that as the base, that is how you build a durable coalition, not the one that has lost to Trump multiple times.
But if you look at the track record of like Sunrise and Justice Dems and these other, more populist progressive groups,
the base wasn't there. Now the base is there. The base is currently behind it.
They have not gained a single seat
because of the institutional pushback from the Democratic Party, and the voters are part of it.
That's bullshit. They are fucking yelling at her because she's saying the truth. Yeah, dude. West Virginian voters actually live in this totally unique space, chatters, where they are utterly devoid of a need for healthcare. Famously, West Virginians actually don't need adequate housing. They don't need health care. They don't need affordability is not a prescient issue for them. Except Donald Trump did sweep with maybe not health care, but certainly tackling the affordability agenda, consistently talk about affordability as being a very important part of his campaign promises. And yet, for some reason, we still act as though, like, no, these are not the people. Like, no one is saying go to fucking West Virginia and talk to like former coal miners who have had no jobs or no job prospects in the last like 2 decades and be like, we are going in to protect our trans neighbors. Okay. We are going in exclusively so that undocumented migrants can come in here and take over whatever jobs that even remain. No, talk to them about a fucking federal jobs guarantee. Talk to them about how you're going to build goddamn houses. Okay. Racist people need to live in houses. Transphobic people still need shelter, okay? Someone has to build the fucking houses so that the transphobic and racist people can live in those houses. They still need health care, okay? I fucking hate this shit. No one is saying run on a fucking trans-first narrative in goddamn plus 35 West Virginia. People are just simply saying that run on an issue that they care about, okay, and then say, yeah, of course, trans people are also getting the same things that you're getting as well. So what difference does it fucking make? Stop complaining, right? Exit post published by Fox and NBC for New Jersey. Apparently, there was a massive plane crash that took place. Massive blaze after plane crash near Louisville, Kentucky. People are saying maybe it's a UPS plane or something. That is where I live. Okay, well, be safe, chatter. I don't know what the fuck's going on here. Yeah, I'm there. It's in my backyard. We have a shelter in place order. Jesus Christ. It was this UPS flight, they're saying. Yeah, if it was a UPS plane that was about to fly all the way to fucking Honolulu, it was probably filled to the brim with fuel, with jet fuel. I'm in Louisville. It was a UPS plane. One of the engines blew up as it was trying to take off and it crashed into a building. God damn. New video from the explosion. Jesus Christ.
Corre para atrás, papi, viste, te lo estoy diciendo, Dios mío.
Ay, pinga.
Ay, Dios mío.
Pero qué pinga. Vamos a ver.
Papi, cuidado.
Espérate.
Ay, Dios mío, señor.
Venga, hacer. Cojones.
Mira la cantidad de gente cogiendo candela, papi.
No, pinga.
That is terrifying, dude. Hot off the presses, vote dump. General election day, check-in as of 6 p.m. New total vote check-ins is at 1.7 million. Who are they going to blame? Muslims, migrants?
Bro, get the fuck away from here. Like, turn around. Bro, no, hold on. I think it's going to crash, bro. Holy shit.
That's crazy. So it barely made it out. It barely made it off the runway. Or did it make it off the runway and then dive back down or something to try and like do an emergency landing? Jesus Christ, dude. Were there people on board? It's I mean, there are obviously pilots on board, but I don't think there were people on board because it's a delivery plane. Like if it's a UPS plane, it's probably just like it's only packages and shit. It's just mostly cargo. But yeah, the pilot and crew as well. Bro, do you still plan on flying? Yes, brother. What can I do? Fuck you mean? I suspect that there might be casualties in like the area that the area of impact as well. I worked there. I literally just got off my shift. It seems I got an engine fire after the safe speed to abort, but never got the required speed for takeoff. Yeah, there's also this shit too. The Department of Transportation might be forced to shut down airspace in certain parts of the country. The government shutdown continues into the next week. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said on Tuesday. Fox is making sure to highlight the airport name. Wait, what the fuck? Crews reporting to large fire at Muhammad Ali Airport after UPS plane crash? I mean, I don't think that I think they're just saying the name of the airport. I don't think they're trying to make it like a Muslim thing. How do you deal with flight anxiety is a question that people asked. And the answer that I have for you is that I don't really have a lot of flight anxiety. All right, let's get back to, I don't know how we got to the wine moms and where the wine moms are at, but let's get back to Zoran on Morning Joe.
And early in the evening, how you're doing against Andrew Cuomo.
Well, I think the key thing is actually through 9 p.m. because we know that there will be so many New Yorkers who are casting their ballots today. And just as important is we will have thousands, tens of thousands of volunteers who are going to be canvassing today throughout the 5 boroughs. And the reason that I'm sitting in front of you as the Democratic nominee is because this more than 100,000 strong team has been knocking on doors, has been making phone calls, has been making the case to New Yorkers that they don't actually have to continue to live in the most expensive city in the United States of America. We can make this place affordable.
Yeah, and Willie, a lot of endorsements, strange endorsements for Andrew Cuomo, lifelong Democrat, have been sort of rolling in over the past 12 to 24 hours.
Led by President Trump, Elon Musk yesterday also endorsing Andrew Cuomo. And you just told us Stephen Miller has endorsed Andrew Cuomo here at the 11th hour as well. There's no question affordability in this city. Living here is top of everyone's mind. It has gotten obscenely expensive to live here, to do anything here. So you're proposing free groceries, $30 minimum wage, all of which sounds incredible.
Cheaper groceries, not free groceries.
Excuse me, cheaper groceries. But what people want to know is, great, I would love all those things.
Yeah,
how do you pay for it? Who's going to end up footing the bill for those programs?
So I'll answer that question.
Another thing that really pisses me off about this, it didn't say free groceries. He said state-run grocery stores, okay? But another thing that pisses me off is like, how do we pay for 5,000 new cops? Why is that not a question that is ever asked? I mean, that's like barely that's the most visible campaign promise of Andrew Cuomo, right? Like, he has made no promises at all, really, other than the fact that he has O.J. Simpson's Bronco, but it's not actually O.J. Simpson's Bronco, right? But as far as like campaign promises goes, that's the closest we have arrived at with Andrew Cuomo's campaign messages, right? Why does nobody ever ask, like, how the fuck do we pay for 5,000 new heads? 5,000 new cops, man. You understand? 5,000 new cops is like $200K a year per cop. That's before like significant hazard pay. That's before we talk about all of the lawsuits that we're going to have to do payouts on. All the fucking lawsuits that we have to do payouts on when they inevitably crack heads, you know? All this shit. Nobody ever asked that. They only ask throughout my career as a political commentator, I have only heard people ask the question, how are we going to pay for it? Not when it's about endless militarism, okay? Endless military incursions around the globe. Not when it's about the domestic military force that is police and constantly giving them more and more money, but only when it's about helping the working poor. How are we going to pay for it? That's it. That's the only time people ever ask this question. How are we going to pay for this? That's how you fucking know someone has a solid approach to politics in America. Okay? There was one fucking question from the moderators against Andrew Cuomo's 5,000 cop policy. One time they asked. Yeah, Elon boosting this idiocy into everyone's feed today. He obviously never promised free groceries. Come on. Law on election day, Mamdani backtracks and says he doesn't want free grocery stores after campaigning on it for months. Mamdani has never campaigned on free grocery stores. He campaigned on city-run grocery stores that would have lower cost food due to not being in business for a profit. They're just fucking lying about his policies, man. They're lying about his policies now. What's next? They're gonna be like, oh, he promised a rent freeze on all rental units. Right? Here's another one. No, he didn't. It was only the units that the state or the local New York rental board has control over, okay? Yeah, take it one step further. Be like, oh, Zoran promised free rent. No, it's just rent stabilized units only. We are approaching the last couple of hours here. In less than 3 hours, we will know if Zohran Mamdani is the next mayor of New York, or if fascism will thrive in this country and there is no hope for change.
First, explaining some of the endorsements that Andrew Cuomo has received. Elon Musk's endorsement is one of the most expensive endorsements that Andrew Cuomo has ever gotten, because it cost him and the state of New York $959 million in tax breaks that he gave Elon Musk years ago when he was the governor of the state. That's actually more money than it would cost to make every bus free in New York City. So I've said clearly that I believe we should tax the top 1%, an additional 2%, that's New Yorkers making $1 million or more a year, and have the most profitable corporations pay the same tax rate they do at the top tier in New Jersey, what they would actually pay here in New York. These things together would pay for the entirety of our economic agenda and start to Trump-proof our city. Because as you've said, the endorsements that Andrew Cuomo has got, and this morning he started it by going on Fox and Friends, we're talking about Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Stephen Miller. These are the architects in many ways of the crisis of authoritarianism that New Yorkers are facing. And Andrew Cuomo is so unwilling to tax Donald Trump's billionaire donors because he knows those are the same ones whose checks that he's busy cashing trying to get back to City Hall.
So what do you say, though, on the question of affordability? Let's just take the $30 minimum wage to the guy who owns the dry cleaner, the woman who owns the nail or hair salon, all these small businesses that you've grown up around and see on your block all the time. Say, I can't afford to pay people $30. I'm going to have to either lay people off or close my business. How do you explain that?
Well, this would be phased in over a longer period of time for small businesses, as is typically done when you're increasing the minimum wage. And what we've heard in terms of concerns are similar ones we heard when we increased the minimum wage here in New York City before. What it comes back to is the fact that today, to live in this city, you have to already be earning $30 an hour, pretty much. And so if we don't want to pay people that, we're going to lose New Yorkers. I met a man who was working for $11.99 outside of Elmhurst Hospital. He told me he commutes 2 hours every single day to get here because he lives in Pennsylvania, because he can't afford to live in New York City. So I'm going to be there standing up for small businesses. I'm going to make sure the days of bodegas being more regulated than Amazon come to an end. And I'm also going to make sure that the workers of those same small businesses can afford to stay here.
So let's talk a little bit more about the threats from the White House and President Trump. I mean, he's talked about sending the National Guard because he believes the city would be lawless and unsafe under your leadership. But also more concretely, he did it on Truth Social.
Damn, bro, this guy's just going nutty mode, dude. He is going crazy. He's like, Zoran, why do you want to assassinate every fucking elderly person that has an additional unit that they're renting out as their retirement fund? Like, that's crazy. What the fuck? This is MSNBC.
Last night as well, beyond the 60 Minutes post, threatening to withhold federal funds. We know he's already slashed the funding for that railway tunnel to New Jersey. What would be the recourse here? We know that
is it not a fair question? The way that you ask questions like this differ greatly, okay? Like, the appropriate way to ask this is just like, what is your plan? Like, it's very obvious that Trump is trying to change the outcome of this election. Like, what is your plan to go after Donald Trump if he tries to cut funding to New York City? And he's framing it as like, why should people vote for you? Because Donald Trump's going to cut the funding if you become the mayor, right? For that, he literally was like, why do you want small businesses to fall apart by raising minimum wage to $30 an hour when everybody knows that that is going to kill small businesses? Why do you want to take a gun out and shoot every fucking laundromat owner in the city? Why do you want to kill them, Zoran? That's crazy.
Any city is dependent federal dollars. What would you be able to do at City Hall to combat that?
We have to stop treating everything that Donald Trump says as if it is law just by virtue of the fact that he's saying it. These are threats, many of which go far beyond the actual powers of the presidency. And this is money that New Yorkers are owed. It's not money that we are hoping the president will give us. And we've seen examples across the country where governors, mayors, attorney generals have come together to file lawsuits on behalf of the people that they serve. And in California, the attorney general there estimated that for every dollar they put in legal fees, they recovered more than $30,000 in federal funds that would have otherwise been stripped of them. So we're going to use the courts, we're going to use the bully pulpit, we're going to use every tool at our disposal to stand up for the people of the city.
Right.
If you are successful and poll.
He's not being that aggravated with the questions. He's talking for the money people so Zoran can speak to their concerns. Brother, this is MSNBC. Okay? That's the problem. That's my point. Okay? You understand that, right? Like, they are supposed to be addressing the concerns of the fucking voters. He is running for mayor, which requires him to win favor with the majority of the voters. The majority of the voters are not operating a fucking laundromat or in finance capital. Okay? They're not. He's a Democrat on MSDNC, right? Like, the lip-tarded platform of MSNBC. Why the fuck is he, while running against another Democratic spoiler, quote-unquote Democratic spoiler, why is he getting fucking grilled over here when he's, like, supposed to be 20 points up on the former disgraced governor, Andrew Cuomo? I just got confirmation from my near 90-year-old great-great-grand-aunt who survived the Holocaust and was a hidden child voted for Mamdani. We are talking about legacy New Yorkers, but she has always hung out in the village, so we knew she was cool. Hell yeah. Like, the point is, Graham Plattner had a fucking cool-ass take on Dick Cheney, by the way, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Let's finish this off.
Many expect that not only will the president try and cut funds, which you just answered, but will probably try and do in New York what he did.
No, it's on. This whole Zoran shit made me realize how right-wing and how much the U.S. is right-coded. They slander him for being a fucking mayor as well. It showed that the Dems right now are just Republican light. This should open my eyes on who I will support on the left now and how bad the Dems are. I hope Daddy Zoe wins. Good. I'm glad. I'm glad that you're, coming to this conclusion. This is what I've been talking about for my entire political career. My entire political commentary career is revolving around this idea that, like, a lot of people present themselves as, like, the leftmost position, and they just, like, act as though they give a shit about these issues like trans issues, or act as though they give a shit about undocumented migrants and properly documenting them, or black and brown issues. But that's just a fucking way to create some kind of fake optics-focused division between them and the right. Their tendency, the establishment Democrats' tendency to drop those issues on a whim and still lose, and only to further advocate to drop those issues even more, should show you that these guys don't even care about these things that they claim to care about. They only care about maintaining the status quo. Okay? And this is what they actually care about. Making sure that moneyed interests continue to dominate our lives. If you really hate reactionary politics, like I do, then you gotta sometimes shit on the Democrats for hugging and kissing the Republicans. Where's the rant? I know someone has that fucking rant from the DNC, the night of the DNC, when I was like doing the whisper rant. When I was whispering, but I was screaming. NBC exit poll, Israel position was important. Cuomo's policies are not realistic, 48%. He doesn't even have any policies. Realistic, 46%. Mamdani's policies are not realistic, 53%. Realistic, 43%. President Trump approval, 69% disapprove, 29% approve. Candidate's position on Israel, important to vote, 68%. Not important to vote, 29%. I don't know what to make of these numbers so far. Why are you in your hotel room? Go out and vote. I already voted illegally. Here.
The only motherfucker that actually hates Republicans. The only motherfucker that actually hates Republicans. Okay? I'm gonna say it. I'm saying it, dude. I think Democrats don't fucking hate Republicans as much as I do. Okay? They love saying, oh, I guess you want to vote for Trump then. But like, dude, you don't fucking hate Republicans. You want them in your party. You desperately advocate for them to come to your party. You literally have them at your convention. You have them at your fucking convention. You have them come and speak at your convention. You literally have their loyal soldiers come speak at your convention, the border guards, the fucking cops. Like, you love them. You want to fuck the Republicans. You want to hug the Republicans. You want to kiss the Republicans. You want to be Republican. You want to be Republican. You're just a fucking Republican. I hate Republicans. You don't. You want to fuck them and you want to suck them. Okay? So stop with this bullshit.
I had to fucking whisper yell because my neighbor had made a noise complaint at the hotel I was staying in after I got kicked out of the DNC the last day. My neighbor, my neighbor in the neighboring hotel room came up to my door, knocked on the door. I answered, and he said, "Hey man, listen, I agree with everything you say, but please, can you keep it down? Slasher, locked into the multi-screen live election coverage that New Yorkers can't trust." I don't know what to say about this. I don't even personally like this, the being mentioned in the same light as some of these other guys. I'm sorry. They are utterly oblivious. They're not knowledgeable. I think it's important to have not only like a clear-cut agenda, but also like a vision for a better future, but also at least like be, bare minimum knowledgeable about the thing. It's just so, like, I think it betrays what I do or what I try to do. I know Slasher's just joking. I'm a rural Missouri sheet metal fabricator. I'm so sick of the culture war. Bullshit. Why can't people realize it's really about the people with money versus the people who make them the money? Yeah, exactly. I love how Kamala Harris, after this incident and the blowback from the disastrous convention, says she wanted a Republican in the cabinet. Truly one of the worst campaigns of all time. Yeah, if you want to understand a person who has demonstrated their inability to fucking meet the moment, look no further than Kamala goddamn Harris. Ay, ay, ay. Anyway, I don't like these exit polls at all. I'm gonna be honest.
I have to tell you, it's not just young people who are coming here hoping to send a message to the Democratic Party by supporting Zohran Mamdani. I had a conversation with a 73-year-old lifelong New Yorker here who was furious with the Democratic establishment that he has supported in the past. He was voting for Mamdani, but really was almost less focused on Mamdani and what he expects from him in the coming years, and more focused on figures like Hillary Clinton or Chuck Schumer, who he blames as essentially paving the way and laying over.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, that's the reason why that fucking rant, that whisper rant, has aged like fine wine. I love that liberals, like lifelong Democratic Party voters, are finally coming to that fucking realization. It took so many defeats for them to realize that the Democrats were always lying to them about the electability arguments that they were presenting, as far as like the viability of centrist candidates to be the most electable candidates. Yes, I want to inject that into my fucking veins, dude. I want to put that on a fucking crack pipe and smoke it. Oh my Lord, I love that shit. It's good. That's how you make change.
And allowing Trump to return for a second term, for Republicans to be so dominant at this point.
I told you guys this. This was a major moving force. And I think the Democrats' inability to even try to do the 2016 era anti-Trump resistance really pissed off the wine moms. Dude, I thought you were watching. We have 56K terrorist sympathizers in here. Yeah, they're all. It's everyone from Qatar is watching because this is the #1 Qatari broadcast. Obviously, oh, I love seeing this.
And so that anger for everything from the cost of living to just the way in which voters want to take back control of the party from establishment figures who they think believe that they are the ones who get to determine the future of the party. Both of those things are very much at play here in this election. As much as it is about policy for many people, it's also about sending a message. And I had conversations this morning with 4 different longtime and lifelong New Yorker Democratic strategists, and they believe there's potential for history to be made here. I mean, already they think that in a way Mamdani has remade the New York electorate because of the amount of young people who are coming out. They believe there may almost be a Trump effect where he's able to bring out people when his name or his energy is on a ballot that maybe don't typically participate. And that's part of what they're going to be keeping an eye on for tonight, Katie.
Are you gonna go to a watch event? I'm gonna go to the main election event. Just voted for Cuomo 10 times from Canada. Nice. Why did you say the exit polls were worrisome? I didn't like the exit polls, but exit polls are unreliable because they like what a majority of exit pollers that were polled said that they don't think Zohran Mamdani's promises are realistic. That doesn't mean that they didn't vote for him, but it's crazy that they said that that's unrealistic. That's not a promising sign. But exit polls are often utterly meaningless.
In LA, Chicago, and want to have a confrontation with you, wants to use your image toward the midterm elections. How will you handle that without playing into him, but at the same time standing up for the rights of those that are legally here? And how do you unite the people in the city that may or may not have supported you, faith leaders and others, to be part of defending the rights of the city without playing into a confrontation? Secondly, how do you deal with those that are concerned about public safety? You have said that you would keep police commissioner in her place. And how do you, and I don't know if she's responded or not, but how do you let people understand progressivism does not mean that we're not going to have law and order and safety in the city?
You know, I appreciate these questions, Rev, because what they speak to is the fact that New Yorkers deserve safety and justice. They don't have to pick one or the other. And that's what we're going to deliver. We have Commissioner Tisch, who Eric Adams, when he appointed her, he had embedded the upper echelons of the NYPD with corruption and incompetence. And she started to root that out, lowered crime across the 5 boroughs. That'll continue under a Mamdani administration, alongside the creation of a Department of Community Safety that will actually be responsible for taking on the mental health crisis and the homelessness crisis. Because when you speak to New Yorkers, these are things that are top of mind. And politicians make us feel as if these are natural parts of living in this city. These are political choices. It was a political choice when Andrew Cuomo cut the funding for a homelessness program when he was the governor. It's a political choice for us to continue having more than 4,200 New Yorkers sleeping on our subway platforms and in our parks. And I look forward to working with the commissioner because, as she said, we do not need the National Guard here. If this was about safety, Donald Trump would have sent the National Guard to the top 8 out of 10 states with the highest crime rates in the country. But they're run by Republicans. So he hasn't done that.
So what's it about?
It's about intimidation.
Right.
He's looking to intimidate people across this country.
You used a phrase that I thought was interesting, that we need to Trump-proof.
Stop sending me Polymarket, dude, please. Fuck Polymarket betting predictions, okay? They're utterly meaningless. And Kalshi and whatnot are fucking cooked. They straight up they were trying to do electioneering like literally yesterday or earlier today. Those guys are fucking demons.
The city. And if you could explain how New Yorkers might be paying more to Trump-proof the city and why they might need to do that.
We have a president who is looking to rip up the very fabric of this city. And that means being ready preemptively for these kinds of threats as opposed to hoping that they don't come to bear. And we have a law department in New York City that used to be one of the most storied law departments in the country. It was on the front lines in fights for equal rights. That department currently has fewer lawyers than it did before the pandemic. We have underfunded so many of the most critical parts of city agency work. That's part of what it means to Trump-proof. The other part of this is, how do we actually stand up for New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and immigrant New Yorkers? Because right now we have protections in this city. We have a city law that says ICE agents are not allowed into New York City schools unless they have a judicial warrant signed by a judge. But we have a mayor who knows his personal freedom is dependent upon not critiquing the president's immigration agenda. And so there are many parents of children who have no idea that they have this protection. And I've heard from principals that they're seeing at times a decline in attendance because of that fear. So I'm going to stand up for those kids. I'm going to stand up for those parents. I'm going to stand up for the people of the city.
What about concerns we continue to hear from Jewish New Yorkers? Donnie Deutsch comes on the show a good bit. He's concerned. He says rabbis are concerned. I talked to somebody who works with you, Rebecca Katz, who said you actually went to more high holy services in the Jewish holidays than most Jews she knows in New York City herself. She said that as a Jewish woman. And she said you've done everything you can do, but it's never enough. Do you feel that way? Or what do you say this morning to New Yorkers who are Jewish, who won't be voting for you, but will wake up possibly with you as the mayor tomorrow?
This is why I said I didn't like it.
What do you say to them?
I will look.
This is why do you consider yourself a socialist? New York City, 69% said no. 26% said yes. That's another. Again, these are fucking exit polls. They're not relevant as far as like actually figuring out what the vote tabulation is going to look like. It's just a way to try and figure it out. 26% is high? No, fuck no. I mean, no, it's not. No. The reason why I say that is because New Yorkers across the board were polled on whether or not they consider themselves democratic socialists, and the majority of the New Yorkers said yes. Majority of the Democratic New Yorkers said yes. So this is a lower percentage than that.
To their mayor as well. I will look to be the mayor for every Jewish New Yorker, every New Yorker, no matter how they vote, who they vote for, or if they vote, because I'm looking to lead a city of 8.5 million people. And I think it's time that we have a politics that puts the people first, as opposed to a politics that put the self. Is a responsibility we have in leading the city to ensure it's one that doesn't just root out anti-Semitism, but also celebrates and cherishes Jewish New Yorkers and their place in this city and in the history of the city. It would be an honor to be the mayor.
And Hispanic New Yorkers. What do you say to Hispanic New Yorkers who are afraid?
Oh, that wasn't a poll. That was do you have a favorable opinion of socialism? Okay. I thought that they self-ID'd as democratic socialists. No, I'm pretty sure the poll we looked at was like, dude, you wouldn't get 26% saying there's socialism in fucking Scandinavia. No, I understand. Listen, just exit polls don't matter. It doesn't matter.
To walk
they're not
they
reliable.
may be swept up in ICE raids, whether they're American citizens or not. What do you say to them?
I understand their fear. Latino New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, these are New Yorkers who have told me time and time again that the very neighborhoods they call home are being hollowed out. I've spoken to small business owners who told me that they just don't have the customers they used to. I spoke to a Dominican barbershop owner in Harlem who told me that all of his barbers have...
Are you feeling nervous? I am. I mean, yes. I think it's understandable why I feel fucking so goddamn nervous.
Education, they need our
all right, Bernie's live on CNN.
Disaster. So I think that the vision is that there are some of us who believe that we need a party, Democratic Party, that stands with the working class, that is prepared to take on the oligarchs. Needless to say.
When will we know the first results? We're at 9 p.m. We're going to win, Hasan. Inshallah, 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 inshallah. Okay. Oh my God. Left, center, right. Anna Kasparian, Ben Shapiro, election night coverage at CNN. Yeah. 9 p.m. Eastern. 9 p.m. Eastern. 9 p.m. Eastern. So 6 p.m. if you're in Pacific time. 6 p.m. Pacific. 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm like, I don't think you guys understand. Like, I'm hanging on by a fucking thread. Okay. Everything is so ass. Everything is so fucking ass. I love that this one chatter said, you just ate pork. Your prayers don't mean anything. Brother, inshallah just means I hope in Turkish as well. You understand that, right? Like, I hope you get it. It's not directly about like praying to Allah that this happens. That's what it technically means. But it's also something that you use regardless of how religious you may be or not. It just means God willing. It's like when I say Jesus Christ, that doesn't make me a fucking Christian, okay? When someone says God bless you, we joke and we say, no, you have to say science bless you. We're not being sincere. Oh, is there any chance you're meeting fans tonight, or is the event private? I mean, there will probably be a fuck ton of fans that are at the venue, but yeah, no, it is a closed event. There are a shit ton of different watch parties all around the city. Bro, you have 50K viewers. You'll have people tapping in right now, asking you something you answered 1,000 times already. I mean, that's the same when I have a fucking 30,000 viewers as well. Let's be real. That's just the common thing that happens in this community. I could have 1,000 people. I could have, when I first start the broadcast, I have like around 10,000 people as viewers are trickling in. And I answer the same question 1,000 times. CNN poll on the Israel factor.
In New York City, there are 3 issues that animated a ton of conversation.
Did Jacob Kornbluth film this from the toilet? What the fuck is this tinny ass audio?
In this race, especially in those 2 big mayoral debates that we saw. First, the importance of the candidates' positions on Israel. Look at this, 38%, the plurality of New York City voters call the candidate's position on Israel a major factor. 30% a minor factor, 29% not a factor at all. Of course, that cuts both ways since there was a real contrast in positions on Israel. How about, yes, in New York City, there are 3 issues.
March, where the fuck are you? March said Jizreal. I'm getting pizza, I told you. Lamb over rice and white sauce place going to be $8 tomorrow. Zoran about to win. Oh my God. Again, inshallah, 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 inshallah.
Status in this country, and yet they're still terrified to come to work because they know that ICE has no interest in the law or the people that they're supposed to serve. They're interested, frankly, in intimidation. And I also am proud to be sitting here in large part because of the support of the Latino community. You know, I don't think I would be the Democratic nominee were it not for the fact that we had a majority of Latino support in that primary. And I'm looking forward to continue to build a coalition that looks like the city of New York.
To go back to Joe's previous question, I've talked to Jewish New Yorkers who like your message of affordability. They think it's the right message, but then they go back and they say, well, he supports BDS. He won't condemn the language of globalize the intifada. He seemed to play both sides after October 7th in his initial statement. They're
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
Deeply worried that you have some animosity for Jewish people and for the state of Israel. How do you respond to that?
Look, I think critiques of the state of Israel are critiques of a government, as opposed to critiques of a people and of a faith. And my job is to represent every single New Yorker, and I will do so no matter their thoughts and opinions on Israel and Palestine, of which millions of New Yorkers have very strong views, and I'm one of them.
Would BDS be the policy of your administration as mayor?
I've said that I would support and have supported nonviolent movements to bring about compliance with international law. And where this mayor has violated and looked to violate that kind of law, I would bring us back in.
Oh, hell yeah. He doesn't even fucking back away. Oh my God. Oh God. In the last moment too.
To compliance.
So yes.
No, I'm talking about compliance.
Okay.
Right? And I've said that I support BDS because this is a movement that is looking for that kind of compliance. We haven't seen it.
So there's a crisis in this country, particularly since the pandemic, in education. In teaching young people. New York City public school system is over 1 million kids, which is bigger than most cities in the United States, although it has dropped somewhat in recent years, which in itself is a concern. There have been mayors, both Republican, Bloomberg, and Democrat, de Blasio and others, who have fought for mayoral control. The city would run the school, the mayor would run the schools. But you have said you're not necessarily in support of that. Why? Why give that up?
So I've been critical of the way in which the Adams administration especially has used mayoral control, critical because of the way that it has pushed parents and educators and students out of a deliberative process. I think that the mayor has to be accountable, but what I've heard from too many is that they go to a hearing about the future of a school that their children go to. 8 hours of testimony, child after child, parent after parent, teacher after teacher. Meanwhile, the decision was actually made weeks and months prior, and this is just a mere formality. So my vision is to build a school system that's not only providing excellent quality education that is the envy of the country, but also one where parents and teachers and students see themselves more in the system as opposed to just being subjects of that system.
We had on the show right before you, Maria Shriver, who teased me about, she did a profile of me 30 years ago when I was alive. And it made me...
Yeah, when... a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know the good Reverend's background, okay? People forget. He was profiled by, let's just say, his background was so unique that he was profiled by Louis Theroux. Okay? I remember.
As I've looked at commercial...
I think he was cooler back then, though. Like, straight up. I think Al Sharpton in the fucking 90s was far, far cooler. Even though, you know, people say FBI informant, stuff like that, but...
During this campaign, they've used statements you said, videos that may have been edited. Are there any things you would like to clarify or apologize for? I've had to live and say I was wrong to say that. I didn't mean that. Is there anything you'd like to clear up before people finish voting today? And secondly, can you commit to doing something about the mice? We almost lost Mika this morning.
I know.
About a mouse.
Oh, my God. There was one in here or something.
No, I don't think there was.
You know, the days of government considering a problem too small, those days are coming to an end.
Yeah?
There's
You
no
promise?
problem too small, no crisis too large, because we deserve a city hall that actually cares about every issue that New Yorkers are concerned with. And, you know, I was at Tom's Diner on 112th and Broadway not too long ago, which is right around where I grew up. And as I walked in, a man looked at me from his booth and he said, "You know how I know you're doing well?" I said, "How?" He said, "Because they're lying about you on TV." Yeah. And, you know, these more than $40 million in attack ads, you can smear and slander me as much as you want, but New Yorkers are also smart enough to see through that. Right. And I'm also proud to say that, you know, much has been made of my age. I think with youth comes two things. One is the arrogance of an innate sense of possibility that I think too often we are losing in our politics. And the other is the humility that you do not know everything. And you must actually surround yourself with those who are experts in the fields that you're looking to deliver on. I think for too long, we've had a sense of leadership that pretends as if it is all-knowing, when in fact, what a leader is supposed to do is to empower those around them to deliver on the agenda that they ran on. I'm looking forward to being that.
So any statements or any like defunding the police, you obviously don't believe that anymore, right?
Yes, I've said that very clearly.
Said that time and again, right?
That we're not.
Anything to clarify. I mean, I'm not saying you said or did it, but clarify or say maybe I've learned how to be more careful.
By the way, we do this to Rev every time he's on the show, and then Rev will do it to me. Right. And we're both apologizing for things we've said years
No,
ago.
I think I've said that you know, the tweets that I wrote in 2020 around defunding the police, that's not the position that I hold, and I'm running for mayor to deliver public safety in.
Shut up, guy. You guys are so dumb. You guys are so dumb. You guys are so dumb. His policy is literally just, I can just say it openly now because the fucking polls are about to close. You're so stupid. His literal policy is verbatim defund the police, dummies. It's just spelled out instead of associating with the defund the police language that was unfortunately destroyed by the Democratic Party as well as the Republicans. He's just not using the term defund the police. Okay? Oh my God. And I did already bring this up during the election cycle as well, where I was like, no, he's just saying defund the police, but he's just describing what it is instead of saying defund the police. It's no different than when he says Israel has a right to exist, not as a Jewish state, not as an ethno state, but as a state with equal rights and equal representation for all people that live there. That is literally a reversal from his previous position. That is a one-state solution. What is wrong with you? Just read between the fucking lines. Some of you guys are such dullards, bro. I swear to God. He's just reframing his position in a way that is more appropriate for liberal consciousness and liberal audiences. He's literally promising he won't reduce their budget at all or reduce their workforce at all. That's very clear. No, he's saying he's going to keep the same headcount and actually reduce their workload by hiring social workers. What do you mean? Now, will he actually follow through on that promise? I don't know. Because the most annoying aspect of this has been that he's going to keep on Tish, the current police commissioner. That is the actual problem here. As far as like, if you're going to be fair in your criticism, understand that. That is the most worrisome thing that he has said around NYPD and policing in general. Clear this, some of y'all. No, Marxism knows what fucking defunding the police means. Are you kidding me? He is the, I mean, look, sometimes I have disagreements with Marxism, and I lovingly call him crusty and an anarchist, but he knows better than anybody else what defund the police means. Okay? Get out of here. He's literally out there on the fucking streets every goddamn day in his local communities doing the actual work that we talk about on here, okay? Put some respect on it. I might disagree with him from time to time, but it doesn't matter. I'm disagreeing with him right now, but it doesn't matter. Now, the reason why I'm disagreeing with him is because there is a very real reason why he keeps saying, I'm going to keep the police headcount exactly as it is. Okay, exactly as it is. We're just going to lower the workload. We're just going to lower the workload so the cops aren't the ones responding to all fucking calls. That is what it is. That's what this is. That's what defunding the police is. It's about restructuring the pre-existing, pre-existing spending vehicles in a way that is leading to better opportunities and better ways of dealing with, like, people experiencing mental health episodes and shit like that. So most of the chat bashes the chatter until you let him tell him not to. Kind of corny. First of all, most of the chat, well, we have 60,000 people in here, so maybe not every single person is aware of Marxism, but this is how it is when we have 30,000 people in here as well. I hope he wins, of course, but there's no triangulation that ever will get the NYPD on their side. Yes, I know he knows that. Come on. We all know that. He knows it too. I think he's trying to avoid assassination. And I don't mean character assassination. I mean literal assassination with lethal ordnance, okay? That is the scariest aspect of like being the New York City mayor, is like overseeing the unaccountable entity that is a standing military, larger than the standing military of numerous Eastern European countries combined. The NYPD has fucking submarines, okay? Yeah, he's trying to avoid a de Blasio style situation where they like arrest his wife, and in the way that they did to de Blasio's trans child. I remember. They're fucking insane. The Sergeant Benevolence Association within the NYPD is one of the most like insane terror organizations, okay? In any case, I think it's good. I think it is good that Zoran has a way with words. Will he actually follow through? Will he actually follow through on campaign promises? Will he actually fucking like do the things that he said he was going to do? That obviously we'll have to wait and see. And that is, of course, if the NYPD literally kidnapped de Blasio's trans daughter. I think she's trans, right? I don't want to. I mean, I know they're trans, but I don't know what their gender ID is. So I did not want to misgender them. Maybe say this when you're safely in LA, brother, not when you're still in New York. What do you mean? I mean, Los Angeles Sheriff's Department has a fucking active gang. They have numerous gangs within them. Okay? My expectation is, regardless of my fucking criticism, the cops do their goddamn jobs. Okay? That's what I'm in favor of. I'm Mr. Do Your Fucking Job. And I know that really pisses a lot of people off. Okay? I'm not Mr. Like, I'm in favor of a complete and total police abolition. I think the cops need to do their fucking jobs. That's what I have always maintained as a position. I understand that policing under capitalism is an institution that serves the interests of capital and not the masses, not the public. That's a lie. They need to do their fucking actual jobs. They need to fix the clearance rates. They need to actually solve crimes, okay? And they need to de-escalate instead of escalate every single time. But, you know, that's another part of this. Like, their job is supposed to be to solve fucking crimes, the shit that you see in the movies, okay? That's how they need to behave, and not like what they actually do in the real world, which is sit around playing fucking Candy Crush and beat the living doors off of people for being like, hey, a tax dollar shouldn't go to Israel, okay? Or, hey, I don't think the federal government should come in and fucking kidnap our neighbors. Can we please have one day for us? Have one day for us? What do you mean? I was once a normie moderate Dem. After so many failures and disappointment of Dem politicians standing up, I have fully embraced the Zoran wave. Perhaps one day we can get back to compromise and moderation, but only after fascism is fully defeated. Hell yeah. Good. I'll take it wherever I can. I'm sorry your dick is dead. He is. My dick is dead. My penis. My penis Cheney. Penis Cheney.
Partnership with the police department.
Right.
And there's also language that I've used in those same tweets, which I've apologized for to police officers directly.
Okay, it's been a very interesting campaign.
As a New Yorker, Tish has a lot of positive sentiment in New York City because Adams left and we sent through 3 commissioners in 2 years, and our outside influence signal the change in the corruption. His capitulation is a response to that sentiment. Yeah, that's what he says as well. That's what he is saying as well. Especially because she is a ultra Zionist. Okay? Like, her last name is on the door of the New York University School of Arts, right? Isn't it the Tisch School? Like, not only is she the daughter of like incredibly wealthy New Yorkers, but also outside of that, she is a major booster for Israel, okay? A major omega booster for Israel. Kind of feels like he's pulling back on a lot of the rhetoric that gave him his momentum. No. There are areas where you can say that. There are areas where you can say that. Okay? But as far as like pulling back from the defund the police to just still basically explain what defund the police is not an area of retreat. The area of retreat is when he said, oh, globalize the intifada. I don't say it. And it's a really mean thing when he knows it's not the fucking case, right?
Yes. Closing argument, 30 seconds, go.
Look, if you are happy with the Donald Trump agenda, if you want to see more of Stephen Miller's immigration agenda, if you think that it's right that the richest man in the world is dominating our democracy to the benefit of himself, then by all means, vote for Andrew Cuomo, because those are the men who have endorsed Andrew Cuomo. If you are tired of rent hikes, tired of waiting for buses that never come, tired of thinking of democracy only as an ideal and not something that can deliver on the needs of working people, then this is the campaign for you.
And scene.
All right, Democratic nominee
All right.
in the New York City mayoral race, Zohran Mamdani. It's great to have you back on the show. We'll see what happens today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And my apology, I apologize for mispronouncing your name for the past few weeks, but I'm getting better. Mamdani.
Which camera are we looking at here?
He couldn't
Andrew, it's not that hard.
Let's do this.
Oh, nice. Please watch this clip of voters from Jackson Heights, Queens. Oh, breakthrough news. Let's go.
Is too damn high. You can't afford that and eat. So what's the option? Do you eat? Do you get cat food? I mean, you know, what are we doing here?
Hey everyone, I'm Rania Kalik with Breakthrough News, and we're coming to you from New York City ahead of a historic mayoral race between Zohran Mamdani and Andrew Cuomo. These guys could not be more different. Zohran Mamdani, a 34-year-old Muslim immigrant running on a democratic socialist agenda for affordability, for housing, calling out the genocide in Gaza.
VA polls are closed.
We're here at a polling station to find out who people are voting for and why.
So who did you vote for today and why?
What? That's a little private. I voted for Mamdani.
Hopefully Zohran Mamdani winning.
I went with Andrew Cuomo.
I'm excited about Zoran Mamdani. He will make the city affordable, I hope.
So I'm actually going for Curtis.
We're New York City, Queens residents for our whole lives. And
What the fuck? Yo, what the fuck? Hey, yo, bro, when I see shit like that, I'm like, that is crazy. Okay? When I see stuff like that, I'm like, how is that possible, brother? That is a Republican. Like, I mean, yeah, sure, W. Curtis, right? Like, but all jokes aside, like, come on now. Anyway, the VA polls have closed. We're going to start seeing election results rolling in.
you know, seeing a diverse borough like Queens finally get representation with, you know, so many nice voting options, but especially Zoran Mamdani.
I'm voting for Mamdani, first of all, and I'm excited that it's getting so many people talking about socialism.
Yeah, I'm willing to give Mamdani a chance.
So was it a tough decision for you? Like, what specific policies got you on board with Mamdani?
I mean, for Kumo, like, I feel like there was the history, the Me Too movement, and like all the sexual assaults that came, and that was part of my voting for, like,
More expensive every day. He's been one to stand up for.
My cousin just came to visit and told me he canvassed for Cuomo and voted for Sliwa. We ain't never getting healthcare, big dog. When I hear stuff like that, when I hear shit like that, I'm like, nope, it's not happening, dude. It doesn't. The mind of the American voter contains multitudes, dude. The fucking mind of the American voter, dude. Oh my God. That cousin's not invited to the walk-on Thanksgiving sheesh. It just doesn't make any damn sense, bro. I mean, I know he probably fucking canvassed for Cuomo because he got the bag, right? So he probably did a shit job, especially if he was pro Curtis Sliwa. Because there's mad people who canvassed for Cuomo, but they were pro Zohran Mamdani, right? Why were they doing that? Because they're fucking broke, and he was paying. Having said that, however, how the fuck do you get yourself to vote for Curtis Sliwa? I don't understand.
Like, you know, the people, the hardworking people in New York. And I think it's good to see a man like him who's not really.
It's also pretty funny because Andrew Cuomo is running against the candidate that wants to fucking increase the minimum wage to $30 an hour. Andrew Cuomo has said that it is impossible to raise the minimum wage to $30 an hour. Meanwhile, he's paying more than $30 an hour for his fucking canvassers. This is what I mean. Like, these guys, the millionaires have spent, and the billionaires have spent more money, okay, more money attacking Zohran Mamdani to make sure he doesn't fucking win than they would if they were taxed. It's fucking so stupid. They're literally dumping boatloads, far more money from their own finances, from their own fucking wallets, which is nothing for them, by the way. It's nothing for them. But the amount that they would get taxed, the additional amount that they would get taxed is even smaller than the amount of money that they're spending to try and stop the Zomentum.
Selling himself out to special interest groups, so that's, he has a lot of work to do, but I'm hopeful that he has his right intentions.
It's impossible to find an apartment for less than like $2,000 in Jackson Heights. People are working 2 or 3 jobs.
I mean, what are they doing with health care? What are they doing with disabilities and all these people? Now they're going to take them off SNAP? Are you going to starve your own people, Mr. Trump? Are you going to starve your own people? I'm not only a World Trade Center victim, I'm a Camp Lejeune victim as well. Wow. Okay? So I was in the Marine Corps serving this country for 5 years for all the people here to protect them. And what are you doing to me? You're starving me now. Come on, really? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.
I fucking love that, dude.
I mean, probably this is the last time I'm trusting a politician. I don't trust them either, but this is the last time I'm trusting Zoran Mamdani.
That dude is more chemicals than man, by the way. Camp Lejeune and fucking first responder for the World Trade Center. I don't know if he's old enough, but god damn, dude. He's got asbestos to the fucking wazoo. Okay? He ate it on both ends. I mean, I don't know. Age-wise, it kind of doesn't add up, but he was just like, maybe the chemicals that he inhaled basically fucking counteracted one another, and that's why he's just like, he's cancer-free now. That makes no sense.
Maybe like if he fulfilled his promises, I'll keep trusting future politicians. But if he like ditches with his promises, then no more.
We've heard lots about affordability, lots of concern about inequality and just the dark turn this country is taking. And for those reasons, most people we've spoken to are voting for Zohran Mamdani. We'll see what happens come election day, and we'll see most.
Camp Lejeune is water poisoning. Okay, the Navy said it received more than 320,000 claims and has settled 64 of them since Camp Lejeune Justice Act was signed into law in 2022. The sicknesses emerged one by one. First came heart problems and skin cancer in 2017. Then within 4 years, Tara McClure was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, prostate cancer, and lung cancer. McClure had served at Camp Lejeune, a sprawling Marine Corps training facility in North Carolina, where up to 1 million people may have been exposed to a drinking water supply contaminated with chemicals from 1953 to 1987, according to federal health officials. Yeah. By the way, this is like